Hi, good morning, guys. It's Craft here, and we're continuing our MYP personal project work with lesson number 4, citing and evaluating sources for your research. Today, we're going to continue our research by finding sources. We're going to discuss how to evaluate them and how to correctly cite them. And we're always thinking about what ATL skills we're using. So our approaches to learning or ATL skill, we're focusing on research skills, and specifically, we're looking at this information literacy and media literacy. And just to think of where we're on our timeline, we've brainstormed, you've written a proposal, you met with your supervisor, and then last advisor, you reflected on that feedback, you refined your learning goal and your product, and you did your research and started with just one source, one website link. And you should have completed this Google form that kind of summarized all this. What was your reflection, where you're at? How did you refine your learning goal and your product? And where did you start your research with? And we helped you kind of brainstorm topics that you might need to research and know about in order to successfully complete your project. And so today we're going to continue research and talk just a bit about success criteria. So our goal with research skills is that we're going to write a bibliography. So we want to correctly cite using MLA all the sources that you use for your personal project. And then we want to talk a little bit about source evaluation. And so we want to make sure the sources we are using, we're thinking about credibility and reliability. So we're really today focusing here first on this source evaluation. And we're going to start with a short video.
Students often receive research assignments requiring the use of credible sources. But what does it mean for a source to be credible? Why is it important to use these sources? And how can you tell if a source is credible? When we describe a source as credible, we're basically saying that the information is high quality and trustworthy. Essentially, that we can believe what the source is telling us. When you use high-quality sources to back up your points, you demonstrate your own credibility as a writer, thereby contributing to the overall effectiveness of your argument. The best quality research builds on other high-quality research. This is true of both your own work and the work of professional researchers. There are several factors that contribute to a source's credibility. Among them are the author's level of expertise, her point of view, and the source's publication date. The author's level of expertise on the topic he or she is writing about could take the form of an advanced degree or other extensive experience in the field. A credible source often provides information about the author's credentials. Sometimes, however, the author's credentials may not be listed, and the publication itself can be the marker of quality. This is often true for some non-scholarly publications like well-respected newspapers and magazines, where the article's content is critically examined as part of the publication process. Another important component of a source's credibility is its point of view, in particular its potential bias. Bias is an inaccurate or unfair presentation of information. In some cases, bias is intentional. A group with its own agenda may sponsor research or information, and the sponsorship may influence the results. Bias can also be unintentional. A writer's perspective may prevent him or her from being able to see all sides of an issue. Sometimes you need unbiased facts to support your point. But other times you might want people's opinions, and that's okay, as long as you acknowledge the source's perspective in your own work. While bias can be difficult to detect, be aware that it can exist in any kind of source, including things you find through the library. In the academic publishing world, books and articles go through a rigorous editorial process, in which an editor or group of scholars evaluate the work's quality. When it comes to journal articles, this process is called peer review. Peer review articles are considered high quality because the review process helps to filter out sources that are written by unqualified or biased authors. Finally, with any source, consider when it was published or last updated. Even something that was once high quality can now be out of date and unsuitable for some purposes. If I needed current statistics on the average cost of college in the United States, a source published in the 1990s would be out of date. However, if I was looking at the increase in college tuition over the last few decades, a source from the 1990s might fit my purposes. Of course, not every credible source is appropriate for your research. Be sure to evaluate not only a source's trustworthiness, but also its appropriateness for your argument. For help finding credible sources or determining whether a source you found is credible, ask a librarian.
So, key points to remember from that video. Credible information is high quality and trustworthy. It's information we can believe. It's important to evaluate sources for credibility so that your own research can also be credible. So kind of three things to keep in mind as you do your research for the personal project and you are evaluating websites. Look at their point of view. Does it seem one-sided or biased? Is there a purpose behind the information or a group with a goal behind that information? When was it published? So what was the publication date? When was it last updated? Is it current? And then last, the expertise. So is the author identified? Are they an expert or otherwise qualified on that topic? And do they have a works cited list on their website? You also want to show that your own work is credible by citing your own sources. So in addition to showing that your personal project work is credible, citing your sources gives credit where credit's due. It shows your work. You avoid plagiarism. You pay it forward by giving information and credit to those people and helping people that are using your personal project and reading through it. And you're adhering to a standard of academia. So we have talked about source evaluation. Now we're going to talk about how do we make a bibliography? How do we cite our sources for our personal project? And this helps develop your literacy skills. We recommend that you do MLA, and you absolutely should maintain this bibliography throughout the project with every source that you use for your personal project. And you should have at least 3 sources. So most of you will be using websites, and citing a website is very straightforward. There's 6 things you need. The name of the author, the editor, or the compiler, if available. Sometimes it's not, or it's hard to find. Name of the web page, name of the website, publication date or last update, most recent copy date, the URL, so the link, and the date of access. So here's all the pieces. If you're doing an MLA citation properly, and I've just color-coded the different parts: author, name of web page in quotations, name of website, italicized, date published or last updated, their URL, and the date of access. So if I want to cite this site, so this is a blog from IB talking about MYP students exhibiting their personal projects last year virtually. First thing I'm going to do is look for the author. This particular site does not have an author. So then I go to the next piece. I want the name of the web page. So the name of the web page is right here. It's the title of this particular web page blog entry. MYP students exhibit their personal projects virtually. Then I want the name of the website. So this is the website for this is the IB community blog. Then I'm going to add the date published. And so the date published down here right below the name of the web page is the date. And so it was May 7th, 2020. Then I'm going to add the URL. You can copy and paste that from your URL bar at the top. And then last I would do when I accessed it. So access the 3rd of December, 2021. And then this would be my complete citation. There are lots of places you can go to help you actually with the formatting. So if you can find the information, they'll walk you through the correct formatting of your MLA citation. Noodle Tools is great. It's one we use in the IB diploma program and the IB career-related program in 11th to 12th grade a lot. So it's great if you want to try Noodle Tools and get some exposure and get comfortable with it. Citation Machine, EasyBib, the MLA guide with Al at Purdue. Any of those would work. Remember that Miss Little, our Seneca Valley library media specialist, is awesome, and she is willing and happy to help with your citation. So if you're stuck or this seems overwhelming and creating this citation, she's happy to help you with that. And just as you research, please keep in mind, you are researching for your product and your learning goal, but we should start thinking about you're going to develop criteria to measure your own success. So how will you know you have been successful on your personal project? So you are used to teachers telling you how we're going to evaluate and how we'll grade you. But remember, the personal project is student driven. So you are actually going to choose your topic, learning goal, product, and determine how you'll measure your own success. So as you do research, keep that in the back of your mind that the next step is going to be thinking about your success. So for the rest of advisory, find at least 3 sources. You should have one, hopefully, from last advisory. Evaluate them using that point of view publication expertise. Cite your sources using MLA. One of those options, you can choose any again. And then submit your 8.4 Works Cited page by uploading your document to your Canvas course. In Canvas, as always, I've linked all of the things that can help you under today's advisory lesson right on our homepage. There's also a template. So if you're using Citation Machine, EasyBib, or MLA, you can copy from that site into the template that I provided for your Works Cited and then upload that. If you're using Noodle tools, you can actually export a full Works Cited page directly and all properly formatted from Noodle tools. But everything's in our module. As always, please let me know if you have any questions. I'm here to help. Miss Beecraft, 1107, right across from the main office.